We want to learn about factoring trinomials. Trinomials are polynomials with three terms. For example, that's like ax squared plus bx plus c when the leading coefficient a is not equal to 0. So we have three terms. There may be more than one variables such as x, y, and z can appear together, but it must have three terms. Let's do some examples. Factor completely. The first problem is about 5x squared plus 30x minus 70. What we have to do first will be we have to observe whether there is any common factor among the coefficients 5, 30, and 70. So we factor 5, 30, and 70, and it becomes 5 times 1, 5 times 6, and 5 times 40. Obviously, GCF is 5. So we take out 5. Then we have 1 times x squared plus 6 times x minus 14. What we notice here is the coefficient of the highest degree term is 1. In that case, what we have to do is we have to figure out two numbers whose multiplication becomes negative 14 and whose addition becomes 6. So we have some possibilities. Those are 2 times 7 and 1 times 14. I said when we add them up, that must make the number in front of x, which is 6. 6 is a positive number, so to make negative 14, we have to make one of them negative. It turned out to be minus 2 and 7 minus 1 and 14, because when we add them up, it must be positive number. So we have to put minus to the smaller number. When we add them up, it'll be 5. It is not 6. The second case, it is 13 and it's not 6. So two possibilities doesn't work. In that case, this is the final form. So the answer is 5 times x squared plus 6x minus 14. The next question is 9x squared plus 9x minus 10. When we look at the coefficients, there is no common factor, and the number in front of x squared is not 1. In that case, what we will think about will be we consider two numbers whose multiplication becomes 9, such as 3 times 3, and multiplication becomes 10, such as 2 times 5. And then we consider the cross multiplication. 3 times 2 will make 6, and 3 times 5 will make 15. After we cross multiply, we add them up, and we have to get the number 9 here. 9 is a positive number, so we put minus sign in front of 6. When we had to write minus sign in front of 6, we transfer that negative sign to the adjacent number here. So we have to combine negative 2 and 5 to make 10, negative 10. So negative 2. The next step will be we horizontally combine two numbers and put x and then plus x and plus. Then we will have 3x minus 2 times 3x plus 5. This is the final answer. When I solved this problem, I could figure out the correct number combination easily because I've been doing this many times. But at the beginning, you may do something like 1 times 9 and 2 times 5, something like that. The wrong combination. But we go through the same process. 9 times 2 is 18. 1 times 5 will make 5. And when we add them up, we have to get 9. And this is negative 10. So, and 9 is a positive number. We have to put minus 2, 5. And then what we realize is that is not 9. So this is not correct. This is wrong combination. Then you will have to repeat the process until you get the correct combination, as I did here. Next problem is 4x squared minus 36x plus 81. Again, 4, negative 36, and 81 don't have the common factor. So we will think about the combination of numbers whose multiplication becomes 4 and whose multiplication becomes 81, 9 times 9, for example. Of course, you can try others, but I will try 2 times 2 and 9 times 9. Both will make 18, and this one, 2 times 9 will be 18. And when we add them up, this time we have to make negative 36. I said the multiplication of two numbers must be 81. Both may be negative, then negative times negative will make positive number. So we got the combination of numbers, and then we combine horizontally, then this one x plus, and then write finally 2x minus 9 times 2x minus 9. You can rewrite that as 2x minus 9 squared. The next problem is negative 3x squared minus 39x minus 36. If we look at each factor, then that can be each coefficient, then that can be written as negative 3 times 1. And this one can be negative 3 times 13. And this one can be written as negative 3 times 12. So negative 3 is the greatest common factor for all terms, coefficient or coefficient. We take out negative 3, then open parenthesis, the remaining one is 1 times x squared plus 13x plus 12. What's important here is 1 is the leading coefficient. So we have to look for the number whose multiplication becomes 12 and whose addition becomes 13. When we do 1 times 12, we will get 13. This 13 is the same as this 13. So they are the same. So this is the right combination. Then what we did was this is plus 1 plus 12. So that's negative 3 times x plus 1 times x plus 12. Next problem is 12x squared plus 37y plus 21. Obviously, 37 is a prime number, so there is no common factor. So we have to look for the numbers whose multiplication becomes 12, let's say 3 times 4, and whose multiplication becomes 21. So let's say 7 times 3. Then we cross multiply. Then that'll be, this one will be 9, and 4 times 7 will be 28. And when we add them up, we will get 37. So this number is the same as this number. So this is the right combination. I said, then you have to combine this way. Then this one will be 3x plus 7 times 4x plus 3. Let's consider a slight variation of the problem. Next problem is 12y squared minus 37y plus 21. Then we can do everything the same. So we get 4 times 7 is 28, and 3 times 3 is 9. And when we add them up, that's 37. But we have to make negative 37. So this 37 must be negative. And so we have to put both minus because we can multiply negative 7 and negative 3 to get a positive number. And then when we combine those horizontally, that'll be 3x minus 7 times 4x minus 3. The next problem is 3x squared minus 14xy plus 15y squared. In this case, we have two variables, x and y. When that happens, we will reorganize it according to one variable. I decide to organize the expression with respect to x. So I rewrote 3x squared and 14y times x times 15y squared. So we perceive y like a number when we organize in this way. So what we have to do is we have to consider two numbers whose multiplication becomes 3, so 3 times 1, and whose multiplication becomes 15y squared. So obviously we have to put y for both. And then we think about the combination. It should make 14y. So I would write 3 here and 5 here. But if something is not that clear, then you have to go through other possible combination of the possibilities of the multiplication. So when we cross multiply, we have 5y and 3 times 3y is 9y. And then when we add them up, we have to get negative 14y. So 15y is positive, so I would put minus for both. And then transfer this minus to here. Then we have negative 14y. And then combine as we did. So x plus x plus. So that equals a 3x minus 5y times x minus 3y. The next problem is 15u to the fourth power minus 20 times u cubed minus 35 u squared. In each term, we can see u. So u is the common factor, and obviously 2 is the lowest degree. So we rewrite other term with u squared times u squared to factor out u squared, because we know that when that's related to the variable to the certain power, the lowest degree one will be the greatest common factor. U cubed can be written as u squared times u to the 1 power, which is just u. Then we take out u squared. So u squared is taken out here. And we have 14u squared, 15u squared minus 20u minus 35. Now we found 5 is the common factor of the coefficient. So we decompose each coefficient with respect to 5, then 5 times 3. The next one is 5 times 4. And next one is 5 times 7. So that is 5u squared and 3u squared minus 4u minus 7. And then we apply the same method. So that's 3 times 1. And if we write 7 here, then 3 times 7 will be 21. So it's too big. So I would write 7 here and 7 times 1. We do cross multiplication, then that'll be 7 and 3. And when we add them up, we have to get minus 4. So here is the minus 4. And indeed, it is negative 7. So we have to put minus sign to the larger number and transfer that to the number beside that's negative 7. And then we combine those. Then it'll make 3x minus 7 times x plus 1. And we have 5u squared, which comes from here. So this one is the final answer. In the next example, we will learn about another way to factor the polynomial. I personally think the previous method is the easiest method to factor the polynomial, but we want to learn about factor by grouping. When we employ factor by grouping, what we have to do is we have to consider multiplication between the leading coefficient and the constant term, which is negative 5. Then that'll become negative 40. Then we have to figure out two numbers whose multiplication becomes negative 40 and whose addition becomes the coefficient of x. In this case, it must be 3. That number combination in this case is 8 and negative 5, because when we multiply those numbers, it'll be negative 40, and when we add them up, it'll be 3. And then we will write it as 8x minus 5x. So what we have to do is we will modify the given algebraic expression to 8x squared plus 8x minus 5x minus 5. I didn't write negative 5x first because by rearranging like this, we will have common factor in the first two terms and common factor in the last two terms. In the first two terms, the common factor, the GCF will be of 8x squared and 8x is 8x. In the second part, GCF of negative 5x and negative 5 will be negative 5. So keeping this in mind, we will take out 8x in the first two, then x squared is x times x, and this x and 8 is taken out, so we will write x here, and 8 times x is taken out here, but that can be regarded as 8x times 1. This one is taken out, so we have to write this number here. So x plus 1, and then minus 5 is the common factor for the next two terms. Minus 5, then x and 5 can, negative 5 can be perceived as negative 5 times 1. So it'll become x plus 1. So we have two groups, and when we consider the common factor of two groups, that'll be x plus 1. So that'll be x plus 1 times 8x minus 5. So this is the final answer. The second example is 4x squared minus 4x minus 3. We will consider the leading coefficient times constant term first, then leading coefficient is 4 and constant term is minus 3. When we multiply, we will get negative 12. And then we will find the combination of two numbers whose multiplication becomes this number, the multiplication of leading coefficient times constant, and whose addition becomes the number in front of x, which is negative 4. That number combination will be 2 times negative 6, because that'll make negative 12, which is this number. And when we add them up, it'll make the number in front of x. So we rewrite the given expression as 4x squared minus 6x plus 2x minus 3. And then in the first two terms, the GCF of 4x squared and negative 6x will be 2x. So it can be rewritten as 2x, open parenthesis, 2x minus 3. And we have plus open parenthesis 2x minus 3, but we can regard it as 1 times 2x minus 3. And then this is the multiplication to this number, and this is the multiplication to 1. And these two are common in two groups, so we will take out, so 2x minus 3 times 2x plus 1.